The assassination of US political influencer Charlie Kirk in Utah early today, our time, has clear relevance here in Australia. It is yet another example of rising political violence in the US and a warning to Australia about increasingly polarised and hateful political debate. Tens of millions of Americans are shocked, devastated and even frightened after Kirk, a 31-year-old podcaster and college campus campaigner who supported the policies and values of Donald Trump and the MAGA movement, was killed by a single bullet to the neck while speaking to thousands of students at the Utah Valley University. This clip spares you the worst of it, but a warning, it is confronting.
Counting or not counting gang violence? Great.
Oh my God.
Go, run, run.
Kirk was married with 2 young children. He was a warrior for free speech and relished taking his conservative views to campuses where he could freely debate the liberal left. Kirk was reviving the true essence of universities, which are supposed to be lively centres for the contest of ideas. But on this campus, he was murdered, presumably by someone who disagrees with his views.
Charlie inspired millions, and tonight, all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America.
The assassin is believed to have fired from a rooftop almost 200 metres from the stage, and police in Utah are still searching for him. The state's Republican governor was mindful of the political divisions, appealing for unity and decency.
If anyone in the sound of my voice celebrated even a little bit at the news of this shooting, I would beg you to look in the mirror and to see if you can find a better angel in there somewhere. I don't care what his politics are. I care that he was an American.
But the governor might as well whistle in the wind, because hatred and celebrations flooded social media, as Sky News media report host Jack Houghton highlighted.
Cretins who delight in misery and openly wish death on those who have different political views.
I'm not saying she deserved it, but I'm saying God's timing is always right.
And goodness knows the wicked's lives are lonely.
Even on a media network, MSNBC, we heard that Kirk effectively had it coming.
He's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions. And I think that's the environment we're in, that people just, you can't stop with these sort of awful thoughts you have and then saying these awful words and not expect awful actions to take place.
No. Words should not be met with violence, ever. The network apologised, but it's too late. The comments provided a window to the soul, didn't they? Besides, Kirk did not spread hate. His views were staunchly conservative, but he was all about respectfully debating ideas.
I go around universities and have challenging conversations, and because that's what is so important to our country, is to find our disagreements respectfully, because when people stop talking, that's when violence happens.
This young man, who never graduated from college himself, tackled tough subjects that others might avoid.
So I do not have hate for a group. I do not have hate for a people. I
So
hate
just so I can get it on my camera. So Instagram,
don't worry, we
hi.
got plenty of cameras, but yeah.
But yes, so you do not hate the LGBT community,
Well, no,
and Turning Point is not against LGBT.
No, how could I hate that which I have a heart for?
Thank you.
And I might not agree at that for some of the lifestyle choices that some people make, but of course not. And if someone said, Charlie, what's your view on marriage? I say, I believe marriage is between one man and one woman. But if you ask me, what do I have hate in my heart for somebody that doesn't choose the lifestyle that I believe that God laid out in the scriptures? Of course not.
The question is macro Islam compatible with Western values? Macro. Of course it's not. There are three major reasons why. Islam does not believe in freedom of speech. Islam does not believe in freedom of religion. And Islam does not believe in separation of mosque and state. Those three things are antithetical to the West.
And Kirk didn't snipe. He'd make his point face to face.
I was born as a man, and now I'm a woman.
Okay, no, but you don't become a woman just because you dress like a woman. So let me ask you a question. If I wear a disguise or a costume, do I become that thing? For example, if I dress with a sombrero and start talking with a Mexican accent, do I then become that culture?
No, because that's different race.
Okay,
That's
but then wait,
very
why, how is it different? Because you're saying that if you dress a certain way and you present a certain way, you can be as you think you are. Why can't I also just choose what culture I am?
Because you are born within a culture, you are born with.
But you were born as a man.
In these times of polarised politics and polarised media, there's too much cancellation and abuse and not enough open debate. And another warning, I'm about to reference some more horrible vision because in recent days, Kirk had been leading the debate about the shocking murder of a 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee, Irina Zarutska. She was stabbed to death on a train in Charlotte, North Carolina, by a man with 14 previous convictions.
Here is the tweet that I sent out. Quote, if a random white person simply walked up to and stabbed a nice law-abiding black person for no reason, it would be an apocalyptically huge national story used to impose national sweeping political changes on the whole country. Of course this is true. Everybody knows this is true. Our media thirsts for stories like this. I want you to imagine if a white guy sitting on a bus and a black woman just on her phone, all of a sudden the white guy took out a knife and just stabbed her in the neck repeatedly. How do you think our media would react? We would have protests. And by the way, I did not bring up race. The attacker said, quote, I got that white girl, end quote. People say, why does the race matter? Oh, it matters because you made us care about race in the summer of 2020.
These are tough debates, but we have to have them. A point the president expanded on.
On campuses nationwide, he championed his ideas with courage, logic, humor, and grace. It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible. For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now.
Charlie Kirk also supported the Second Amendment right to bear arms. In this clip, he warns about the costs of this right, and he couldn't have known that he too would become part of that price.
We should have an honest and clear reductionist view of gun violence, but we should not have a utopian one. You will never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun death. That is nonsense. It's drivel. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational.
Now, we all know that gun control will not flow from this death. It never does. What can and does need to change is the resort to political violence. This is not new to America, but it has been on the rise over the past decade. In just 2022, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked with a hammer in a home invasion. A year ago, a would-be assassin clipped Donald Trump's ear with a bullet and killed one man, injuring others. 2 months later, another assassination attempt was thwarted at Trump's Palm Beach Golf Club. Then in December last year, Brian Thompson, the CEO of a health insurance company, was shot dead in Manhattan. And in May this year, 2 young Israelis were shot dead outside the Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. And just 3 months ago, a Democrat state politician in Minnesota was shot dead along with her husband. This is a terrible dilemma for the US, and it's a crucial warning for us. Over the past year, we've seen synagogues, cars and businesses firebombed, homes, schools and shops daubed in hateful graffiti, terrorist attacks celebrated, terrorist leaders lionised, and the symbols of terrorist organisations flaunted. Free speech means hearing what we don't want to hear, but where we must draw the line is incitement to violence. Yet we constantly hear chants for the elimination of Israel, death to the IDF, and for terrorist uprisings or intifada. Yet authorities do nothing, and politicians stand idly by. We need to clamp down on the incitement to violence. And we need to reanimate the public square. We need to get opposing views together to debate ideas rather than have them squaring off from a distance, demonising each other. That's why I constantly ask Labor and Greens politicians onto this program to debate a wide range of issues. The invitation stands, it's never accepted. The best way to both honour Charlie Kirk and guard against the violence that killed him is to have an open contest of ideas where words are the only weapons.